Have you ever wondered what it would be like to hear the devil's side of the story? Well, that's pretty much what John Milton gives us in his epic poem Paradise Lost. Today, we're going to crack open this masterpiece, breaking down its absolutely huge story of rebellion, temptation, and the very beginning of humanity.
So, where do we start? We begin in the most dramatic place you can imagine, hell. Forget everything you think you know. We're right there on the shores of a burning lake, just moments after a failed war against heaven. And this is where we meet our protagonist. Or is he our antagonist? Satan. This quote, it's one of the first things he says, and it's just pure defiance. He's looking for strength not in winning, but in the absolute refusal to give up.
So, who is this guy, really? I want you to imagine the most magnificent, powerful angel in all of heaven, second only to God. That was Satan. Now, after a cosmic civil war, he's been hurled from the heights of paradise right into a pit of fire. He's lost the battle, for sure, but as we're about to see, his war is just getting started. And this, right here, is what makes Milton's Satan so fascinating. He's not some simple, one-dimensional villain with a pitchfork. Even in total ruin, his original brightness hasn't completely vanished. He is an archangel ruined, a figure who is both terrifying and honestly, kind of tragic. He's still got this dark charisma, and it's this complexity that has just captivated readers for centuries. Okay, so how does Satan get from being a fallen angel to the guy who tempts all of mankind? And where do Adam and Eve fit into all this? Let's walk through the key stages of this incredible story. Right? So our story kicks off in the aftermath of that massive rebellion. With his army of fallen angels, Satan doesn't just sit around and mope. Nope. He builds. He actually raises a kingdom in hell, a dark reflection of the heaven he just lost. In their brand new spectacular capital city, Pandemonium, the fallen angels hold a council. And the big question on everyone's mind is, what now? How do they possibly strike back at the all-powerful enemy who just defeated them? So inside Pandemonium, things get heated. You've got these different factions. On one side, you have figures like Moloch, who's all about brute force. He's demanding another all-out, probably suicidal war against heaven. His thinking is, hey, better to be completely destroyed than live like this. But then you have Belial, who's more of a smooth-talking politician. He argues for a more subtle approach, warning everyone that, believe it or not, things could always get worse. But in the end, it's neither another war nor just giving up that wins the day. A new, much more cunning plan starts to take shape. The idea is, if they can't beat God on the battlefield, they'll find another way to hurt him. A much, much more personal way. See, they've heard rumors about a brand new creation, a fragile little race called mankind, living in a perfect paradise called Earth. And right there, the real twisted nature of their revenge becomes clear. They're going to target God's new favorites. They're going to turn his own beloved creation against him. It's a plan of just breathtaking cruelty. And who steps up to the plate? Satan, of course. Solidifying his role as their undisputed leader, he volunteers for the incredibly dangerous solo mission. He, and he alone, will journey across the great abyss of chaos that separates hell from this new world to carry out their terrible revenge. And now, get ready for some serious whiplash, because the scene shifts dramatically. We leave all the fire and the dark politics of hell behind, and we travel to a place of perfect peace and innocence, the Garden of Eden. When Satan finally sees paradise with his own eyes, something strange happens. For just a moment, his all-consuming hatred is silenced by the sheer, overwhelming beauty of the place and the pure, innocent love he sees between Adam and Eve. It's a painful glimpse of everything he's lost, and you know what? It just fuels his desire to burn it all down. This line, spoken by Eve to Adam, just shows you how perfect their existence is. They're in total harmony with God, with nature, and with each other. Life is blissful, and there's only one simple rule they have to follow. Whatever you do, do not eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. But that moment of awe that Satan felt, it curdles into a bitter, twisted jealousy almost instantly. He sees their happiness and knows he can never, ever have it again. So, he decides if he can't have it, he's going to destroy it. And this sets the stage for one of the most famous, most dramatic scenes in all of literature, the temptation. He chooses his disguise very carefully. A serpent, the most clever creature in the whole garden. Finding Eve all by herself, he doesn't approach with a threat. No, He comes at her with a voice of pure, dripping flattery. He tells her she's a goddess, that she's way too magnificent for this simple life. He's planting that very first seed of pride. And then comes the masterstroke. He takes God's one and only rule and twists it into an act of oppression. He suggests that God is actually trying to keep them down, to stop them from becoming wise and powerful, like him. It's an incredibly powerful and seductive argument. Knowledge is power, and God is hoarding it all for himself. And it works. Torn between her loyalty to God and this glittering promise of godlike knowledge, Eve makes her choice. She eats the fruit. And Milton describes this as a cosmic event. The earth itself literally trembles, wounded by her single act of disobedience. When Adam finds out, his reaction is just pure horror. He gets it. He understands the gravity of what she's done. But his love for Eve is so absolute, so complete, that he simply cannot imagine a life without her. So he makes a conscious, tragic choice to share her fate, to fall with her rather than live without her. So the act is done. Paradise is officially broken. And now comes the inevitable fallout for every single person involved in this cosmic tragedy. God arrives in the garden, and the sentences are handed down. The serpent is cursed to crawl on its belly forever. Eve is condemned to suffer pain in childbirth and be subject to her husband. And Adam, well, he's sentenced to a life of hard labor, just to get food from the now cursed ground. Meanwhile, back in hell, Satan returns expecting a hero's welcome, but instead, he gets what is basically a divine practical joke. He and all his legions are suddenly transformed into hissing snakes, forever tormented by a craving for fruit that turns to ash and dust the second they try to eat it. It's the ultimate humiliation. And for Adam and Eve, the final consequence is exile. The gates of paradise are slammed shut forever. An angel casts them out into a harsh, scary, unforgiving world where they now have to face mortality, fear, and sorrow. But just in this moment of total darkness, Milton gives us this tiny glimmer of light. Hidden inside the curse on the serpent is a promise, a prophecy. It says that one day, a descendant of Eve will come and finally crush the serpent's head. It's a signal that this fall isn't the end of humanity's story. It's just the beginning of a long, hard road to redemption. Which brings us to the central question of the whole poem, really. Was the fall just a simple tragedy? Or was it what some people call a happy fault? By losing this kind of unthinking, blissful innocence, did humanity gain something far more complex, far more profound? Things like the freedom to choose, to struggle, to fail, and ultimately to find our own way back to grace. Paradise was lost, yes, but maybe that was the necessary start of the human story as we know it.